Oh, hello everyone. Good morning. Welcome back to another Cyberpunk Phantom Liberty video. I will say in advance that I'm a little bit under the weather, so apologies if I sound like a little bit of a smackhead, but you know, it doesn't stop, right? It doesn't stop the need to explore and to break things. In today's video, I thought it would be only right to have a look at the stadium as it was never intended to be seen. Way back when I first started doing these no-clip videos, the stadium was one of the first things which I looked at, back when it was just a, empty vessel of nothing. So really to see this place become transformed into something which has actual goddamn gameplay, which has an actual set piece, which has actual kind of environments and storytelling. I feel like a parent. I feel like a proud dad. So first and foremost, there is a little bit of trouble with this location, mostly because all of the stuff which is happening on the lower level, which is completely inaccessible, by the way. I am actually quite surprised that this part down here is not usable in game. Because of this, when you're inside the stadium, you can see that there's kind of like things happening. There's a dumpster being flown away. There's a truck that's driving around, and some other things kind of happen here and there. But if we were to fly out and go back into the stadium, these little props, these little pieces of set dressing will eventually stop working. You can see here that no one's driving this thing. In fact, you can even get into it, which is kind of cool. And as you get into it, it will stop driving on its own. But the fact that you can drive into this thing, I think it's pretty cool. To my knowledge, it kind of drives around here, and then I think it despawns and then comes back again. Let's have a quick once around on the kind of exterior of this place. Not a great amount of changes, mostly just the additional bits of rubble, which you can see all the way around here. This end cart station, which remains completely unchanged, apart from this very large wall which is now going around. This wasn't here before, and even this as well has now been kind of filled out, whereas before it kind of went down. As you can see here, this was the old floor, so it's weird that CDPR kind of fleshed this area out. Anyway, so you can fly all the way around, and it still has like the little staircases which take you up to the very bottom of the stadium. And not to sound like a broken record or anything, but this area is entirely out of bounds. But you can see that there's collision throughout, and even the stairs work as intended. You can kind of for fuck's sake. Yeah, so as I was trying to say, this structure, which was in the original stadium, had this weird kind of little circle that just runs all the way around it, is pretty much unchanged. There's just a little bit more debris, there's a little bit more props. Eventually it does actually connect with the stadium's entrance, which is pretty cool. Kind of relating to this as well, this stadium is like very thematically consistent, and by this I mean that on the higher levels of the stadium, like for example here, we have these gates up against the wall, and if you were to clip behind them, it actually does take you inside the stadium to where another gate is. Like you can see here, this is a gate, and on the other side is also a gate. I think there's a couple other examples which we can try and have a look at, maybe this one. So not all of them do this, but the ones which do connect I find quite interesting. Almost like, why does that make so much sense, Why go through the effort of making that look perfect? Like for example this one as well. Again, this place is completely unusable, but you can fully walk around this kind of no problems, no questions asked. That just about covers this side of the stadium. Again, this place is all solid. Like you can walk all the way around this. There's little kind of illusions of more happening behind the scenes. All of these places are just like little silly squares which don't really do a lot. One thing which I particularly like about the stadium is that these cranes can actually be stood on. For whatever reason, they have collision, and you can kind of like follow it all the way along, which is pretty strange. And I don't know if maybe this means something, like maybe at some part of the DLC this is, I don't know, usable. Maybe it was intended to be usable, I don't know, but it has pretty like spot on collision. So yeah, this is the stadium. Looks really cool actually. I'm a little disappointed that this whole area down here is not entirely usable, because there's a lot of stuff going on, you know. There's a lot of world building, and even inside this big crashed blimp, right, which is probably like the most interesting thing, there isn't really anything, just kind of like a collection of shapes. Down here though, there is some stairs which kind of take you up to this crashed blimp, and I'm not entirely sure why this is here, because again, it has working collision. You can follow it pretty much all the way up until you start kind of clipping into the actual blimp itself, like here for example. But you can kind of crouch past it and it takes you all the way to the top, so I'm not really sure what the beef is with that. This is also another part which kind of looks like it should be usable. Not entirely sure what is happening here. Oh, there's some NPCs out the map, look at that. I mean, on the other side of the crashed blimp, there isn't really a lot of props, but they're all very low quality, not a lot of collision as well. Yeah, it's all just kind of world building, you know, that's all it is. And I don't know about you, but when I first saw that the stadium was going to be, you know, a part of Phantom Liberty, that it was going to be improved upon in the DLC, I kind of thought like, oh, there's got to be, you know, the stadium itself, right? Like in the middle of the stadium has to be something, because I would have thought that's the biggest area, which in terms of like the story, you know, the world building, this is such a huge space. You would have thought that they would have populated this rather than, you know, inside the stadium itself. Maybe if they could just haul this fucking blimp out. Anyway, it seems kind of weird to me that this isn't usable, but regardless, it's still pretty cool, and hopefully this has showed you that you're not really missing out on all that much, apart from a couple vehicles which you can kind of drive, but this one you can't drive anymore. So yeah, that is the ground floor of the stadium in Pacifica. Hope you enjoyed, guys. Sorry I sound like absolute shit. Just watching, hopefully you enjoyed, and if you did, please leave a like on the video, and let me know if you want any particular locations found or explored in Cyberpunk, and I'll get right to it. Thank you very much, guys. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you a little bit later.